You get in your car, press a pedal, and hit 40 miles an hour without using a single muscle. You can fly across the planet in a day, and you're annoyed if the in-flight Wi-Fi is slow. You carry a machine in your pocket that can summon a car to your exact location, and you get irritated when it takes 5 minutes instead of 4. But for roughly 300,000 years, every journey a human being ever took happened entirely at walking speed. Getting anywhere meant risking your life, stepping barefoot through territory that could easily kill you. We have solved the problem of distance so effectively that movement is basically invisible now, masking the brutal geographical obstacle course our ancestors had to conquer. As a species, humans are terrible sprinters. A cheetah hits 70 miles an hour, and a horse sustains 30. You top out at maybe 15, and only for a few seconds. We aren't built to be fast. We are built to never stop. You can walk 20 miles in a day, sleep, and do it again tomorrow, for weeks. Your feet have arches that act as physical springs, and your Achilles tendon releases kinetic energy. A neck ligament keeps your head perfectly stable, and sweat glands actively cool you down, allowing you to move while other mammals overheat and stop. We know exactly how far back this endurance goes. In 1978, paleoanthropologist Mary Leakey discovered these fossilized footprints pressed into volcanic ash in Tanzania. They are 3.6 million years old, made by two individuals walking upright, side by side. Starting 70,000 years ago, small groups began pushing further into territory no human had ever seen. Archaeologists find obsidian tools hundreds of miles from volcanic sources, and seashells found far inland, showing these groups covered massive distances on purpose to trade and connect. Our biology was the perfect tool for crossing solid ground. But that incredible endurance hit a hard stop the moment our ancestors reached the water's edge. For hundreds of thousands of years, a body of water was basically a wall. It cut through hunting grounds and migration routes. You either found a shallow crossing or you turned around. Then humans did something no other land animal has done. On the Indonesian island of Flores, archaeologists found stone tools dating back 800,000 years. Because Flores has always been separated from the mainland by at least 12 miles of deadly open ocean, those tools prove someone made a deliberate crossing. Survival naturally escalated into engineering. The first crossing was likely someone grabbing a floating log, but by 65,000 years ago, humans were building vessels capable of crossing 60 miles of open ocean, from Southeast Asia to Australia, paddling blindly toward land they couldn't even see. Around 3,000 years ago, the Polynesians engineered double-hulled canoes to cross the Pacific Ocean. They navigated thousands of miles using only environmental observation, reading the stars, the direction of ocean swells, and the specific flight paths of birds. Boats conquered the ocean, but back on land, humanity faced a harsh terrestrial limit they couldn't simply float away from: the crushing reality of physical weight. You can easily walk 20 miles, but you cannot walk 20 miles carrying a 200-pound animal on your back. The human body can handle maybe 40 to 60 pounds of cargo before the spine and knees start breaking down. To move heavy loads, our ancestors had to cheat friction. At first, they threw massive kills onto animal hides and dragged them back to camp. We know this happened because archaeologists find specific wear marks on ancient hides that only occur when immense weight is dragged over rough terrain. Eventually, someone engineered a significantly more efficient tool, the travois. By tying two long wooden poles together in a V-shape and slinging a platform between them, you drag the narrow end while the wide end carries the load. Spreading the weight between the poles allowed a single person to move over 100 pounds. It turned a heavy carry into a manageable drag, though hauling capacity was still limited by the strength of human muscle. To bypass the limits of our own biology, we borrowed someone else's. About 15,000 years ago, humans domesticated dogs to pull sleds across Arctic snow. Then, around 5,500 years ago on the steppes of Kazakhstan, humanity figured out how to ride and control the horse. On a horse, a person could suddenly hit 30 miles an hour. In a single generation, the human world got 8 times smaller. Messages moved faster, trade routes stretched further, and armies could reach you before you even knew they were coming. But there is a massive historical paradox here. humans successfully populated the Americas, crossed the Pacific Ocean, and tamed the horse long before anyone ever used a wheel for transportation. The oldest known wheel is 5,200 years old, and it started as a flat spinning disc for shaping pottery. The first wheeled vehicles used heavy, solid wood that constantly got stuck in mud. It wasn't until around 2000 BC that the lighter, stronger spoked wheel allowed for chariots, finally combining high speed with heavy cargo. The first paved roads appeared around 4000 BC, providing the smooth surfaces needed for spoked wheels and horses to work together. This system allowed armies and supplies to move hundreds of miles without falling apart, making the expansion of early civilizations like Uruk possible. Every single one of these breakthroughs, learning to float, dragging weight, taming horses, and turning the wheel, took thousands of years of trial and error. Each step was built directly on top of the survival tactics of the generation before it. Today, you open an app to catch a ride and complain if the traffic is slow. But your ancestors walked barefoot for 15,000 miles, crossing continents they couldn't even name out of sheer necessity, because for them, staying still simply meant dying. Every modern highway, airport, and set of train tracks on this planet exists strictly because someone in the ancient past made the brutal physical decision to push into the unknown. Our ancient ancestors looked at the distant horizon, didn't know what was there, and found a way to cross it anyway.